When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Lao Tzu. There is something wild about life you only notice when you stop gripping so tightly. The moment you ease your fist, the current you were fighting begins to carry you. It is not magic, and it is not luck. It is how energy works when you move from fear to trust. When you need a result at all costs, your energy stiffens. You try to catch a river with your hands, and the harder you squeeze, the more it slides away. Then, one day you exhale, say, "Whatever happens, happens," and doors that never budged begin to open. Letting go is not giving up. It is stepping out of the way long enough for life to meet you halfway. Control feels safe because it looks busy. It fills calendars and minds with plans, contingencies, and backup stories. But under the noise is a nervous system trying to outrun uncertainty. The paradox is that the more you demand certainty, the more chaotic you feel. Tight timelines and rigid expectations shrink your awareness to one narrow path. You miss the better paths life is quietly offering because you are staring at your script instead of watching the stage. Life responds to alignment, not anxiety. Think about the relationships that lasted, the chances that changed you, the ideas that landed with force. Most of them arrived when you were living rather than proving, present rather than panicked. You were not auditioning for your own future. You were engaged in the moment, with open attention and open hands. That energy is magnetic. People feel it, and so do opportunities. It says, "I will show up fully, and I do not need this to look exactly like my plan to feel whole." Needing is a broadcast of lack. It says, "I do not have it, and I do not trust that I will." Trust broadcasts sufficiency. It says, "I am already whole. If this comes, beautiful. If not, I remain whole." That inner stance flips the game because your actions stop carrying the scent of desperation. You reach out because it is aligned, not because it must save you. You prepare because it matters, not because your worth depends on an outcome. The more you embody that, the more naturally the right things recognize you when they arrive. Most people were trained to trust fear more than possibility. We were taught to anticipate betrayal, to plan for disaster, to protect ourselves from disappointment. So trust feels reckless, like stepping to the edge without a harness. The hidden truth is that there was never a harness. Control creates the illusion of safety, not the reality of it. Real safety is internal. It comes from learning to ride the waves rather than damming the ocean. It is the steadiness of a surfer's stance, knees soft, gaze forward, responsive to what arises without clinging or collapse. If trust sounds passive, you have the wrong picture. Trust is powerful. Trust is action without panic, intention without attachment. It is moving forward while leaving room for life to exceed your design. It is trading a single, rigid outcome for a spectrum of acceptable ways this can work. It feels like walking into a room without needing it to prove anything about you. It feels like sending the message and releasing the timeline. It feels like doing your part and letting the rest breathe. Here is a quiet law: reality tends to honor. What you force often breaks. What you trust often builds. Forcing jams the gears. It crowds people, projects, and possibilities with pressure. Trust clears space. It invites creativity, serendipity, and timing to do their work. If you look back, you will find times something appeared to fall apart, only to reveal itself later as a redirection you would never trade. Those were not accidents. They were life answering deeper needs, not surface fears. There is also the social layer. Desperation is a frequency people detect even when the words are polished. It pushes. It asks the moment to do something it cannot do. Calm alignment is a different signal. It says, "I choose this, but I do not need it to define me." You talk differently. You listen more. You make cleaner decisions because urgency is no longer driving the wheel. And because life so often mirrors your state, Rooms begin to meet you differently. Trust also protects you from the seduction of speed. We love quick wins and instant proof, but speed toward the wrong thing is still loss. The oak does not become strong by being rushed. It becomes strong by growing in the seasons it is given. Some of the best shifts of your life will not arrive on your preferred schedule. They will appear in their own season and ask you to meet them with readiness, not with panic. The question is not, how fast can I force this? The question is, how faithfully can I align with this? So, how do you move from force to flow without drifting into apathy? Practice alignment in small, consistent ways. Let your actions speak your trust. Build lightweight planning that leaves room for better options. Take care of your nervous system so your body does not mistake ease for danger. Learn to set intentions with strength and hold outcomes with softness. This is not personality change, it is skill building. It is the craft of showing up fully while letting go of what you cannot and should not control. Use this 6-step protocol to train that stance in real life. First, set intention, release outcome. Each morning, write one clear intention for the day and one 10 to 20-minute action aligned with it. Define the why, take the next honest step, and explicitly release the when and the exact how. Your obligation is the action. The outcome is a bonus. This rewires you from results dependence to process fidelity, where momentum compounds. Second, practice open-hand planning. For any meaningful goal, sketch 2 or 3 acceptable scenarios: best case, steady case, detour case. For each, note a simple response you will take. This keeps you engaged without clinging to one storyline. If you feel yourself tightening around a single option, ask what adjustment would let you hold it more lightly. Third, regulate with breath and unclench. When urgency spikes, your body thinks it is saving your life. Teach it a different pattern. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6, 3 cycles. Soften your jaw, drop your shoulders, and literally open your hands. Then ask, can I take the next step without gripping the future? That one question invites strength without strain. Fourth, run a timeline detox for the desires that make you check endlessly. Choose one and commit to 24 hours with no compulsive status checks. Replace each urge with a constructive action: learning, outreach, craft, care. You are not ignoring the goal. You are starving the loop that trains you to equate anxiety with progress. Fifth, separate fact from fear. Write 2 columns. In one, list verifiable facts present now. In the other, list the story your mind is adding. Act only on the facts. Let the story be a hypothesis at best, not a command. This breaks the spell of needing reality to match your script before you can be steady. Sixth, keep an evidence log of trust. Each day, record one instance where releasing pressure helped something move, or where a delay revealed a better path. Review weekly. Your nervous system believes patterns, not pep talks. Seeing your own data makes trust feel reasonable rather than risky. Notice how practical this is. None of these steps require you to stop caring. They help you care cleanly. They reduce the noise between your intention and your action. They free your attention from micromanaging outcomes so you can invest it where it changes things: in showing up, in learning, in connection, in craft. Over time, the felt sense of trust moves from concept to baseline. You start walking with a steadiness that does not need external proof every hour. What about setbacks? Trust does not mean you will love every twist. You are still human. You will still feel disappointment, grief, and frustration. The point is not to avoid those waves. It is to keep your stance while they move through. When something falls apart, ask 2 grounding questions. What does this free me from that was quietly costing me? What does this make possible that was not available before? These questions do not erase pain. They keep you facing forward. There is also an identity shift underway as you practice. You graduate from the role of the struggler who wins by force to the role of the builder who wins by alignment. The struggler needs every outcome to validate worth. The builder lets outcomes inform strategy and identity remain rooted in values. One is a scramble for proof. The other is a calm, iterative conversation with reality. Life becomes less of a battle and more of a dialogue you are finally patient enough to hear. As you repeat these moves, you will notice telltale signs. Your calendar still has structure, but it does not feel like a chokehold. You can hold a strong desire without needing it to arrive today to feel okay. You follow up without fear. You rest without guilt. People reflect back that you feel grounded. Opportunities that used to slip by begin to stick. The speed does not always increase, but the friction decreases, and that is what most people are really craving. A final reframe seals the practice. What if the point is not to wrestle outcomes into existence, but to become the kind of person outcomes want to land with? That person is not desperate or distracted. That person is attentive, prepared, consistent, and light enough to adapt. You do not need to become more impressive. You need to become less tense. Strong intention, soft timeline, open palms over clenched fists. Align, then allow. If this resonates, choose one step from the protocol and run it for 7 days. Keep your evidence log of trust so your brain can see the pattern. Let your actions say, I do not chase, I align. I do not demand, I prepare. I do not panic, I receive. And when impatience rises, return to the breath, open your hands, and remember what the oak already knows. Growth is not a race, it is a rhythm. Meet it, and it will meet you.